Hi, my name is Eric, and I was lucky enough to attend both reveals, one of the C8 Corvette just last week, and then I also got to attend the reveal of the 2020 GR Supra in Detroit back in January. Both of these are absolutely amazing cars. I'm so excited that finally in America and around the world we are able to get a brand new sports car, two brand new platforms from scratch for the first time in a long time. Supra obviously has been absent for 17 years. The Corvette is a continuation, and I need a new car. The C8 Corvette. I was at the launch last week. Amazing launch. It was super exciting to be able to go there. I was one of the very fortunate few people from, I guess, the world of social media that was actually able to attend. I met Shmee150, I met Chris Fix, and that's it. Everybody else was mainstream traditional media and dealers, so I feel super, super fortunate to be able to attend that. Thank you, General Motors, for that. So, quick recap of this car. I'm sure you've heard it a gazillion times. It is mid-engine. For the first time, it's got the LT2 engine, which is a continuation of the LT1. Of course, it's a 6.2 liter V8. It has a dry sump system with 3 separate pumps in it. That's pretty awesome, which means it's going to be able to handle high G loads and keep the oil in the engine and not fry the bearings in the car, which can happen with some of the LS engines under load. 495 horsepower with the performance exhaust system. It has a brand new 8-speed DCT transmission. That is super cool. And of course, General Motors made a big point of saying it's coming in at under $60,000. So that's just sort of the highlights of the car. Pretty awesome car. I was able to sit in it. I think the car looks really great. It's perhaps a little overstyled, but overall I think it looks great inside and out. Now, one of the most exciting things about this car is the acceleration and the power. 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. That is excellent. That's amazing for $60,000, but it's actually not $60,000 to get that acceleration. But to get it, what do you need? You need basically 4 things to get that level of acceleration. It's got a mid-engine, which means that as you're accelerating, the weight transfers back over the rear tires, puts additional weight on the rear tires, and so instead of getting wheel spin, you're able to put that power down. The Z51 package, which we'll talk about in a second, has got different gearing. It also, of course, has an 8-speed DCT transmission, which shifts super, super quick. They don't say how quick, but the main thing with the DCT transmission is that as you're disengaging one gear, let's say you're disengaging first gear, second gear, the cogs are already moving in place. So essentially when you flip over to second gear, the power transmission is instantaneous. You don't get any lag at all between first and second because both gears are essentially engaged on different shafts inside the transmission at the same time. And it has an electronic limited slip differential, of course, and one of the big factors in good acceleration is torque. So all those things come together and you get 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. I saw on Instagram there was a driver that was, I don't know if he's testing the car, out with the car, and he apparently said, to some of the spectators, he was getting 2.8 seconds. Pretty quick. So the Z51 package is what you need to get this acceleration, and let's just do a quick rundown of what is in the Z51 package. So we have the electronic limited slip differential, probably with better gearing. In fact, it does have different gearing, although General Motors hasn't said specifically what the gearing is, but I've got a theory on that. So it has adjustable threaded spring seats. So this is something for the track. I'm not sure exactly what they mean here by this, but obviously you're going to be able to adjust the springs to some degree. We're going to find out a little bit more about that soon. It does have bigger brakes. It has stickier tires, the Michelin PS4 tires. It has the shorter differential gearing, it has the performance exhaust, which is what you need to get that extra 5 horsepower from 490 to 495. Damn, that exhaust sounds good. Better cooling, better brake cooling. And it has a front splitter and a rear spoiler. So that's all in the Z51 package. You're going to need those things if you want to be able to do 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. So what is this shorter differential gearing? They haven't specifically announced what the numbers are yet, but from this leaked build sheet, which is up on screen right now, this was leaked a couple of months ago from a Canadian dealer, allegedly, and everybody was questioning it at the time, but actually I think it looks fairly realistic that this might be an actual build sheet. I know I like to say actually quite a bit, because the other options in here match up with what we're seeing with the C8 so far. So it looks like 3.62 is the gear ratio, I'm guessing in the standard, the base Corvette, and 3.8 in the Z51 package, so lower gearing is going to give you better acceleration. One thing I remember at the launch is that they talked about the acceleration being so good because the first 2 gears, in fact, all the first 6 gears in the transmission are pretty low, but I think the first gear is really designed to dig in and give you really, really strong acceleration. So that's one of the tricks as well, is pretty low gearing in this car. How much is the Z51 package going to cost us? General Motors hasn't revealed the exact prices yet, but let's take a look at the current C7 Corvette. So the base Stingray with automatic transmission is about $59,000. It's $10 less actually, but hey, who's counting $10? So if you add the Z51 package, that is about $5,000 for the Z51 package. So my guess to add a Z51 package to the C8, I think it's going to be above $5,000 because they're just bringing us more base equipment with the car. But let's call it $5,000 to $8,000 for the Z51 package. Now, if you want to add magnetic dampers, currently it's about $1,800 for the C7. So I'm gonna guess they're gonna be like $2,000 to $3,000 in the C8. I definitely like magnetic dampers. That's something that the Supra has base on. And so a C8 lightly configured, I'm gonna guess is gonna run about $65,000 to $70,000 realistically. The base one, of course, is gonna be probably $10 less than $60,000. Let's configure a 2020 Corvette. Let's add a couple options and see what this thing looks like, because I'm pretty jazzed. So this is red. I don't think I want red, I'm kind of a blue guy. So let's see what we can do with the exterior here. So the color that we saw at the reveal was this Elkhart-like blue metallic. I really dig this color. Ryan, did you like that color?
Oh, that color was bitchin'.
That was pretty cool. There's also this Rappa blue color here, which I kind of like too. It reminds me a little bit of like a WRX, but let's go with this one. We haven't added any trim yet. So, ooh, interior color. So if I do anything other than the base, I'm sure jet black is going to be the base color. Let's do the interior here. That's going to be base, and I think that's what we get with the base one. If I add yellow stitching, looks like I can do that for free, but if I add any of the colors, well, actually, let's look what we're getting into the options here. So anyways, here's the different color packages. Oh yeah, okay, so if I want to do something a little to match the exterior, then, you know, I got to upgrade that basically. And you're able to do the seat belts and all kinds of cool stuff too. That looks pretty nice. I kind of like that here. And let's see if we can see what the Z51 looks like real quickly here. Performance wheels. Okay, so the Z51 package. So we get the splitter in the front, which is really nice. And ooh, look at this rotation. And then we get a different rear wing too in the Z51 package. I think, you know, the way I'd want to configure this car, probably, you know, $65,000. I definitely want the Z51 package because I want that better acceleration. I want the lower differential gearing. That's the kind of stuff that I want. I want the performance stuff. And also it's gonna be more track friendly. You've got more cooling in the oil. You've got more cooling for the brakes. And overall, there's just a few other things too that are gonna make it more track ready. I like the car. That would probably be the way I configure it to keep it cheap. Let's configure a Supra the way I want it now. We're gonna compare it to the Corvette. So we've got 3 different trim packages. We've got the base one, the 3.0. There's the 3.0 Premium and the Launch Edition. I don't want the Launch Edition because that's gonna be super hard to get. And so just the differences real quickly between these. Let's see, actually I'm gonna select the Premium. Let's go to the next step here. And so they all come with the same engine. There's no difference in the performance between these cars. So the Premium and all of them come with a 3-liter twin-scroll B58 engine. They come with the same 8-speed the 8-speed automatic transmission. This is the 8 HP. So I want yellow, so that's $400. And there's really not a lot of options on here. Let's just add driver assist for $1,200. And you've got a couple other options here, but if I skip all that stuff, we get to $56,000. It's got about $900 of delivery on there, so we're looking about a $57,000 car. Let's talk about the weight difference between these two cars. These cars are pretty different dimensionally. So the Supra, Toyota gives us the curb weight, which is 3397. Now the curb weight is going to include fluids, and don't think that fluids are just like 10 or 20 pounds. Fluids are actually very, very significant. We're talking about quite a bit of oil. We're talking about maybe 5 quarts of oil in a car. We're talking about a tank of gas. We're talking about fluid in the transmission. All this stuff actually adds up. It actually is quite significant. Anyways, so the curb weight on the Supra is about 3,400 pounds according to Toyota. Now, a couple magazines have been out and they've been testing the car. In fact, the premium edition, which is heavier, and they're finding that the car actually weighs somewhere around 3,360, something like that. At the SEMA, one of the SEMA measuring sessions, I forget who it was, somebody found that the car was actually close to 3,300 pounds. So I don't know, we've got a difference of maybe 40, 50, 60 pounds from what publications like Motor Trend and Car and Driver have found it to be versus the SEMA measuring sessions. Anyways, the car wet curb weight is going to be probably a little bit less than 3,400 pounds. Now, let's talk about the Corvette for a second. General Motors has told us the dry weight of the car is going to be 3,366. Now, this is a pretty big car, and you're going to be adding a lot of fluids to this car, and I'm thinking that it's going to be about 200 pounds of fluids. We can argue and debate in the comments, but clearly we're not quite comparing apples to apples when we're comparing the dry weight versus the curb weight. So the dry weight is 3,366. That's around where the Supra comes in wet. I'm going to guess, let's say 200 pounds for fluids, gas, oil, all that stuff, transmission, differential, all those fluids. I think it's not unrealistic to think that if you get this car out the door with a Z51 package and maybe one of the other packages as well, it might be pushing 3,600 pounds curb weight. So there actually is a pretty significant difference here. And let's also talk about the dimensions. The wheelbase on the Corvette is 107.2 inches. On the Supra, it's 97.2, 10 inches shorter wheelbase. It's a big difference, and it's going to make a big difference in handling and the types of roads and the types of road courses and circuit that's going to be more suited for. I think you can figure out the answer to which one is going to be better on a tight circuit. And the length, the overall length of the Corvette is 182.3 versus 172.5. So we're talking another 10 inches longer. And the Corvette is 76 inches wide and the Supra is 73 inches wide. So the Supra is actually a pretty small car. And I've sat in it. I think the seats are great in the Supra. I think they're very, very comfortable. I don't think they're actually BMW seats. I actually think they're seats from Toyota. Very, very comfortable interior. I sat in the C8. Certainly, if you're a big guy, the Corvette has got lots of space for being a big guy. I sat in it with the seat all the way back. I could barely reach the pedals. I'm about 5'9". I think if you're 6'2", 6'3", it's not gonna be a problem in the Corvette. If you're 6'3" and you wanna get into the Supra, you're gonna fit. But if you put a helmet on, I think your helmet's going to be touching the roof. So just a little bit of a consideration there. The Supra 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds. The Corvette in about 3 seconds. No question, the Corvette is faster. Hands down, it's going to be faster all day long. It's going to be faster in a quarter mile. The Supra does the quarter mile in about 12 to 12.5, depending on the publication. Pretty quick. The Corvette will no doubt be faster than that. I'm guessing it's gonna maybe be, dip into the 11s possibly, maybe high 11s. I don't know. Nobody knows yet, but it's gonna be a pretty quick car. Now, here's perhaps one of the biggest considerations for me. When can I get both of these cars? My understanding is that General Motors is not gonna get the production line fully on board, fully online until December. That means that the first deliveries of the cars, realistically, a few people might get them in December. Realistically, everybody's going to be getting their car in 2020. So January, February, depending on where you are in line at your dealer. And believe me, I know of dealers that have like 100 orders on these things. So we're talking about 6, maybe 7 months before I could get my hand on a C8 Corvette. The Supra, I've got a couple. I'm working on a couple right now. I'm trying to get a yellow one. Potentially, I could have the Supra as early as maybe 5 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, 7 weeks from now, something like that. So it's possible to get the Supra like kind of soonish. We're talking about a month or so. Let's sort of get down to brass tacks here. Let's talk about some of the things that matter to me, which of course is price. So I've just configured both of these cars sort of quickly online. And so the Corvette, if I can get a stock one at MSRP, we're talking $60,000 out the door. I'm a kind of guy who definitely wants the Z51 package. I plan to take it to the track, so we're talking about probably $65,000 minimum, maybe a little bit more if I want the magnetic ride, which of course the Supra has. So still $65,000, $70,000, something like that. It's definitely gonna be over 60 out the door. And I can't get it right now. The Supra, on the other hand, the way I've configured it out the door is gonna be somewhere around $56,000, $57,000. So it is a little bit cheaper. So those are the considerations. Tell me which one do you think I should buy based on that? Let me know down in the comments below. And then let me know what your favorite color is too. I've got some more videos right over here on screen if you want to click on one of those. And I want to thank my Patreons. You guys are absolutely amazing. Real Six, $100 a month. Squirrel Pope, Furious Grommel, all you guys are super awesome. These guys help support the channel. They help get me out to events. They help fly me to places so I can attend car shows and show you the latest, coolest, most exciting stuff in the world of sports cars. My name is Eric. Guess what? I'll see you in the next video.